Stop counting your steps. Seriously, put the pedometer down and ignore the ring on your smartwatch. If you're relying on 10,000 steps to save your health or melt stubborn belly fat, you're playing a game your biology was designed to lose. We've been sold a comfortable lie. The idea that movement automatically equals progress, that every step carries the same metabolic value. It doesn't. Your body doesn't reward effort. It responds to signals. And most people are sending the wrong one. They walk distracted, slouched, half awake, and their biology quietly flips into efficiency mode. Burn less, conserve more, protect fat at all costs. That's why you can walk every single day and still see nothing change in the mirror. But here's the part no one tells you. There is a specific metabolic state where walking forces the body to unlock stored fat. By the end of this video, you'll know the one small mistake that makes daily walking backfire and the exact signal that turns a simple walk into a fat-burning command. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're doing exactly what they were told to do. You walk every day, you stay consistent, you feel your heart rate climb, you break a sweat, and afterward your appetite explodes. Hours later, your energy crashes, and days or weeks go by with no visible change around your waist. That frustration is not imagined, it's biological. As we get into our late 30s, 40s, and beyond, the body becomes brutally efficient. It learns how to do the same work while burning fewer calories, not more. When you walk fast enough to feel strained, breathing heavy through your mouth, your nervous system doesn't register exercise. It registers urgency, stress, escape. And when the brain senses stress, it protects stored energy, especially visceral belly fat. So the harder you push, the more your body resists. That's why traditional cardio leaves you tired but not lean, hungry but not lighter. You weren't weak. You weren't undisciplined. You were playing by rules that were never designed to work long-term, especially for adults over 40. Here's the shift most people never make. The human body doesn't burn fuel based on effort. It burns fuel based on perceived demand. Think of your metabolism like a hybrid engine with two tanks. One runs on glucose, stored sugar that burns fast and loud. The other runs on fat, a deep reserve designed to keep you alive for weeks. When demand feels urgent, panting, heart pounding, mouth breathing, the brain chooses glucose because it's quick. Fat is too slow for emergencies. That's why you can jog, sweat, and still tap almost none of your body fat. Your biology thinks you're running from something. But when movement feels controlled, rhythmic, and oxygen-rich, the message changes. Now, the body senses safety. And only in that state does it unlock fat cells and allow lipids to leave storage. This is the mistake behind the more is better mindset. More intensity doesn't mean more fat loss. It often means the opposite. Your body isn't impressed by suffering. It's listening for signals. Once you understand that walking isn't about distance or steps, but about which fuel you're forcing the engine to use, everything changes. And that brings us to the narrow window where fat burning actually peaks, a place most people never find by accident. There is a narrow physiological sweet spot where fat burning quietly dominates, and almost no one stumbles into it by chance. Go too easy, and your body stays lazy. Go too hard, and it panics. Think of fat like wax in a candle. It doesn't explode, it melts. It needs a steady stream of oxygen, not chaos. This is why random walking fails and random cardio backfires. Fat oxidation peaks when effort is controlled, breathing is challenged but calm, and the nervous system stays out of fight or flight. You should feel warmth building, a light pressure in your lungs, and a rhythm you could hold without dread. Not strolling through a store, not gasping on a run. Somewhere in between, deliberately uncomfortable but unmistakably safe. That paradox is the doorway, and once you know how to find it without gadgets or lab tests, walking stops being transportation and starts becoming a metabolic command. Tomorrow, when you walk, forget heart rate zones and numbers. Your body already gives you a built-in diagnostic tool. It's your voice. As you settle into your pace, try speaking out loud or calling someone. If you can talk in complete sentences, without gasping, but you'd struggle to sing or whistle, you're in the zone. If you can sing, you're too slow. That's transportation. If you can't finish a sentence, you're too fast. That's sugar burning. The right pace sits right on the edge, controlled, steady, and intentional. You should feel heat rising, a mild hunger for air, and total command of your movement. This is the signal that tells your mitochondria, we need energy, but we are safe. And safety is what opens the door to fat. Once you lock in this pace, the next lever isn't about going faster. It's about changing the terrain so your muscles have no choice but to work harder without triggering stress. Flat ground feels productive, but biomechanically it lets the body cheat. When you walk on level terrain, your tendons act like springs, recycling energy with every step. It's efficient, and efficiency is the enemy of fat loss. To force real metabolic demand without triggering stress, you need resistance, not speed. This is where incline changes everything. Walking uphill removes the braking phase of each step and turns every stride into pure muscular work. Your glutes and hamstrings, the largest muscles in the body, have to contract concentrically over and over again. That alone can double energy demand without the joint impact of running. Set a treadmill to a 10–12% incline or find a real hill. Keep your hands off the rails and let your arms swing naturally. Holding the rails can cut calorie burn by nearly a third and shifts effort away from the muscles that matter most. You'll feel the difference fast. 20 minutes uphill will produce more heat and metabolic pull than an hour on flat ground, all while keeping cortisol low. And once those large muscles wake up, something powerful happens inside the bloodstream. When it comes to fat loss, timing and chemistry matter more than motivation. For most adults over 40, fasted walking is a superior tool if it's used correctly. When you wake up, insulin levels are naturally low. That's not a trend, it's physiology. Low insulin is the biological green light for fat cells to open. The mistake is what comes next. If you eat first, even something healthy, insulin rises and those doors slam shut for hours. Here's where caffeine becomes a catalyst. Black coffee or unsweetened green tea increases the circulation of free fatty acids, literally pulling fat out of storage and releasing it into the bloodstream. But liberation is not fat loss. If you drink that coffee and sit down, those fatty acids have nowhere to go. They drift, they linger, and they often end up stored right back where you don't want them around the belly. Walking immediately after caffeine completes the cycle. Unlock, transport, burn. You're not forcing fat loss. You're allowing it to happen in the environment your biology expects. And once this chemical window is open, there's one silent habit that can shut it down without you realizing it. Almost everyone makes this mistake without thinking about it. You head out for your walk, coffee in hand, fat finally circulating, and your eyes drop straight to a screen. Biologically, that small habit is a stress signal. When your vision locks onto a close object like a phone, the brain shifts into a narrowed, threat-focused state. Breathing becomes shallow, the sympathetic nervous system ramps up, and cortisol quietly rises. And cortisol is not a neutral hormone, it tells the body to hold on to belly fat. This is why distracted walking often feels busy but ineffective. The fix is simple and surprisingly powerful. Lift your eyes and let the world move past you. That visual flow, trees, buildings, the horizon sliding through your peripheral vision signals safety to the brain's fear center. Breathing slows, posture opens, oxygen delivery improves, and fat oxidation rises. Audiobooks and music are fine, but your gaze stays up, chest tall, stride relaxed and deliberate. When stress drops, the body cooperates. And once the nervous system is calm, we can activate one of the most overlooked metabolic tools built directly into your legs. Deep in your lower leg is a muscle most people ignore, yet it may be one of the most powerful metabolic regulators in the body. The soleus is often called the second heart, and for good reason. Unlike most muscles, it's designed to work for hours without fatiguing, quietly pumping blood and pulling fuel out of circulation. Recent research shows it's exceptionally effective at clearing glucose and burning lipids, but only if you actually use it. Most people don't. They shuffle. They collapse into each step. There's no push, no finish, no signal. To activate it, every stride needs intention. Roll through the foot and drive off the big toe. Feel the calf contract and release like a piston. This pumping action does two things at once. It accelerates metabolic clearance, sucking sugar and fat out of the bloodstream, and it pushes venous blood back to the heart, reducing inflammation and leg fatigue. Here's the check. If your shins hurt, you're braking. If your calves and glutes feel warm and alive, you're doing it right. And if mornings don't work for you, there's a backup strategy that may be even more forgiving. If mornings are chaotic or fasted, walking isn't realistic. This is where most people get relief. The 10-minute walk after meals is one of the most underused metabolic tools available. After you eat, especially a higher carb dinner, blood sugar rises and insulin follows. Sitting down locks that sugar in the bloodstream, where it fuels inflammation and fat storage. But light movement changes the equation instantly. Just 10 minutes of walking after a meal creates a glucose sink. Contracting muscles pull sugar out of the blood without needing insulin to do the job. That flattens the spike, prevents the crash, and allows the body to return to fat burning much sooner. 3 short walks after breakfast, lunch, and dinner often outperform a single longer walk done at a random time. Timing is biology. You're not burning calories here, you're directing traffic. And when you combine the right timing with the right pace, terrain, and mechanics, the system finally clicks into place. When you step back and look at everything together, the pattern becomes clear. This isn't about walking more, it's about creating metabolic flux. First comes timing. Ideally, you walk in the morning, fasted, with caffeine, while insulin is low and fat is available. If that window doesn't exist, you walk after meals to drain glucose before it causes damage. Next comes pace. You stay in that narrow zone where you can speak but not sing, where breathing is challenged but calm. Then, terrain. You remove efficiency by adding incline, hills, or load so muscles have no choice but to work. After that, nervous system control. Eyes up, posture tall, no screens, cortisol kept in check. And finally, mechanics. Every step is deliberate, rolling through the foot, driving off the toe, engaging the calves and glutes. None of these elements work alone. Together, they send one clear message to the body. Energy is needed, stress is low, and fat is no longer protected. Walking has never been the problem. Passive walking is. When you move without intention, your body treats it like background noise. But when you control the signal pace, terrain, timing, posture, mechanics, you turn a simple walk into a biological instruction. You're no longer burning calories. You're upgrading the machine. This is why distance and step counts fail so many people. They measure output, not impact. What changes your body is the message you send while you move. Lower stress, higher oxygen, muscles doing real work, fat released because it's finally allowed to be used. Walking doesn't change your body. The signal you send while walking does. If this reframed how you think about movement, you're not here for fitness trends. You're here to understand the system. And once you understand it, you don't go back.